Good evening. This is Fabrizio Ayala, creator of Horace H. Hoover. It's a 5-issue limited miniseries from Alterna Comics. Issues 1 and 2 are available now. Newsprint, sort of old school art with the supernatural occult humor bent. Check it out. So tonight I'm going to be finishing up this drawing, which I've been working on for a bit. So I don't have too much to do on this. Some brickwork here. I have to fix his hair here. Maybe do some other textured stuff on the brick. But any questions? Let me know. I'm gonna have some music because this is crazy. Hey Jordan, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Alrighty, I have a couple of tools. I got brushes and pens, so we're gonna see what works best for this. Hey Blue Teddy, how's it going? I kind of messed with my audio, so if anything's wonky, let me know. But I believe the auto looks like it's working. It's okay. You can always catch this later. Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to finish this one up tonight. This has actually turned out quite a bit better than I had hoped. Again, it was just sort of concept art and kind of took it to another level, so it's working out pretty nice. Yeah, as far as streaming, I mean, like from 7 to 10, there's so many people streaming at this point. It's kind of hard to compete, so if anybody pops in, I appreciate it because there's a lot of competition out there. So I actually let my pen dry, which is not cool. So I'm gonna have to clean that later. So I'm gonna have to swap. So these are the G nibs, or whatever they're called. Man, are they nice and cheap. So I'll start with the easy stuff, which is just sort of the noodly stuff. Which is just going to be a little bit of texture. I think I'm going to start it on the bricks. Man. Behind Horace. I didn't do anything with this last time. And it was a little too clean. I just got to make sure that, you know, for any cast shadows, you want that hard edge. You don't want a soft edge coming out of the shadow. But again, this is brick, so it's catching little chunks of light and little divots and stuff like that. So that clean edge is just a little too much. Yeah, I've been having fun doing the old traditional dip pen more so than the microns, so might do more of this. I don't know about for the comic book, but definitely for some illustrations, concept art type stuff. I realized in my tweets, I always put, you know, chatting about this or about that, and it's usually a joke. You know, I put like economics in the decline of Western civilization or something like that. But today I put, I was going to be chatting about what it's like living between a church and a cemetery, which is not a joke because I live between a Catholic church and a cemetery, which is delightful in the fall. Like, the stories kind of write itself. So, during Halloween, just taking a walk in the cemetery, listening to some church bells. There's nothing better. Yeah, I think I put pumpkin spice ink. I would enjoy some pumpkin spice ink, you know. That way I can smell some nice pumpkin spice while I'm inking. Although ink doesn't really have too potent of smell, generally. At least that I notice. Although, you know, after all these years, it could be a market that I could corner. Like French vanilla ink, pumpkin spice ink, hazelnut chocolate ink, patent pending. The auction was really fun yesterday. It was kind of impromptu, but I actually found some pieces that I got to sell, and it was a lot of fun. I usually, I don't know how many like large pieces I've sold. Not many though. So, but yesterday I sold a few, and it was pretty cool. And I just smeared the ink for the first time today. That's great. I didn't put any detail into his pants, which is not good. I don't want to go too far just because there's a lot of detail in the back, a lot of grays, a lot of blacks. I want to make sure that his pants stay high contrast, but we need something. If not, it's just essentially a big, just a white shape. I still managed to stay pretty loose with everything. Much more loose than I approach the comic book, that's for sure. Nice, I wasn't able to make it, so I just shared it on Twitter as my contribution. That's awesome. That's a huge help. I really appreciate that. Just getting it out there is really half the battle. Yeah, this is sort of the noodly stage. And you can definitely over noodle, but you definitely need some. It's not, doesn't look quite finished. My ink is already getting chunky. That's not good. One of the pieces that I sold yesterday, it was sort of like a group shot of Max, Slurp, the Book Bug, the Smoke Man, and like the Loquat from issue 3 coming out. And then really far in the distance, there's a bird, and he's like a wooden mechanical bird. And he basically, he gets summoned by Horace, and he will bring like a portable library. So it's just a library on some ropes. So wherever Horace is, whatever universe, etc., he just summons him, and it plops down this little. It unfolds into this library with a chair and a table and all the accoutrement, which I thought was a fun little thing to do. We probably won't see it for quite some time, but if you see that in the next Marvel movie, just yell. This is probably good. I could really just noodle on this forever, but man, I don't want to. As long as it's clear what's actually going on in the image, that's your first clue to move on. And then the next is, does it look finished? You know, are there some areas that are just completely devoid of details and some that's really rendered? Sometimes that can work too, to be honest. You know, there are times when leaving certain areas really sparse still looks finished. It's hard to articulate, but sometimes it just looks finished even though it's definitely not. Okay, so We need to fix his hair. I just completely got the shape wrong. I might actually have to white out some of that. Or it could all go straight black, we'll see. I try to avoid whiteout as much as humanly possible, so if I can, I will. Yeah, I was noticing I really like stuff where only certain things are fully rendered, so I've been playing around with it in studies. Yeah, it's a cool technique. If you can pull it off, man, it's one of my favorite things, to be honest. When I was in school, I used to do that a lot with like nude studies and still lifes. And my one professor, man, he would get on my case about that. No, you gotta do everything to the exact same detail, and I'm like, I just like that look. So I'm gonna totally have to white out his hair. That's not gonna work. So be it. Sometimes I think it's such a shame that we don't have videos of like Bernie Wrightson working on Frankenstein or something like that. Things that are really hard to sort of reverse engineer sometimes. I mean, Kirby's amazing, but we kind of see how that's done. But to this day, the Frankenstein stuff is still... I mean, it's traditional pen and ink, yes. But there are some things he does where the order of operations is confusing. Like, did he start with the blade of grass? Did he outline it and then kind of put the shadow in after he did the blade of grass? That kind of thing, which is, it's just such a shame that we don't have video of that. So this top, I'm gonna spill that bottle ink. This top left is really, I wasn't planning on drawing this far to the page, but it's very empty. So I'm definitely gonna have to put some sort of shadows there that I wasn't planning on. I'm gonna do underneath his helmet. The different kinds of ink are so drastic. So I really gotta go dark under his helmet. Probably even the hose. 'Cause if not, it's such a light gray that if I do scan this in and pull out the blue line and try to color it or something, it just becomes that much harder. I'm basically just going to rough in some big blocky shadows. Something I've really come to realize is that it's very difficult to get a drawing past the point of no return. You can almost always bring it back to something. You can usually salvage it. I used to bail on drawings way too early. Way too early. In the penciling stage, let alone the inking stage. And now I will do everything I possibly can before bailing. It's really rare. Because ultimately, even if it's not what you had in mind, you can still make it a successful drawing as long as the composition's okay and there's some balance in the values, and, you know, as long as you can keep that going, it's successful, even if it's not what you had in mind. Yeah, so that looks looks a little more finished with that top left shadow, so I'll actually finish the top right. If there's any other large black areas, I definitely want to do them now while I have my brush loaded up. Yeah, it's actually moving along. I think as far as blacks, I think we're good. Just want to put a little more black behind his. It's not a cape. I don't know what this thing is. Just that bumps forward a little bit. Just want to make sure that these hands are really differentiated between Horace's chest. So taking these a little darker. Hey Diana, how's it going? I'm making some Horace H. Hoover. Should be able to finish this up today. I think I've done 3 streams with this. I started it a while ago, but almost done. So I think I'm done with the brush. This isn't even the brush that I usually use. I'm really playing fast and loose with this drawing. I am good. It's always nice to finish a piece and be vaguely happy with it. Although, finishing is a big deal in general, so you should just be happy to finish. I don't think I'll be able to white out that hair here, but I can do that after everything's dried. Probably have to clean up that too. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, I think done with the brush. I'm gonna try to clean this up. Trick is making your mistakes look like they were on purpose. Not that these are all mistakes, but very loose. I'm not even really doing like the brick mortar. These are just shapes, really. Me gusta el personaje Horace. Thank you. I still have to send you copies. And I don't think I ever got an email. Can you go to horacehoover.com and there's a contact form and fill that out? That way I'll have your email and then I'll send out issues 1 and 2 for you. I've been really busy. I haven't had a chance, and I'm not... it's just easier if you do it through email on my contact form. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Oh, no problem. I don't speak Spanish, but I kind of got it. I know Italian, so I can muddle my way through a little bit, depending on what it is. I'm used to watching streaming from people who speak Spanish. Yeah, no problem at all. I mean, I don't watch a ton. There's a few podcasts I listen to in Italian, which are really useful. Am I off the page? Yep. Do you understand something in Spanish? I mean, only, again, there's some Spanish and Italian overlap, so sometimes if I read it, I can kind of figure it out, but not much. Just little things here and there. So, after I'm almost done with the entire drawing, and this will happen. You'll start to do an effect or a texture or just something that you like how it looks. So I really like this. What I did is I did hatching across these columns, and I really like how that looks. So unfortunately, I didn't do that since the beginning, but I know that the next time I do sort of these, whatever you want to call them, these horizontal columns, that sort of hatching works pretty well. Instead of worrying about doing bricks or something like that, for the whole thing, and everything looks exactly the same. These look more just like cement or something like that. I don't know. I don't know, but I kind of dig that. So I'll do some more down here. So I think the last thing I'm going to work on is probably up here. This is sort of the only bare, and it's a little odd that would be white anyway. So if you're looking at this as far as composition, you don't want just white, especially with these lines that kind of take your eye off the page. It's high contrast white, so you want to bring that down a little bit. That way, again, you have the highest lights, darkest darks out here. So if you just need to push that back, you just make it gray. It's really not a really important part of the drawing, so it's okay to do that. You don't want to particularly make it boring, but you don't want to make it too interesting, because again, that's right at the edge of the page. Kind of ruins the composition. When I studied graphic design, I had a drawing class, and they taught me how to paint with Chinese ink, but I haven't used that drawing technique in a while. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I've used washes before. I have this walnut wash that I've had forever, which sometimes I'll break that out. But you've gotta not be afraid to use washes like that, because it's gonna do what you don't want it to do. And you just have to be able to know that however it acts on the page, you're able to sort of bring it back to a state that you like. I'm just doing I don't know, just a shape in this little block, in this little box, like it's a painted, recessed mural or something. Frieze. I don't know what the right, but maybe there's something painted, some scene, and things like that. Again, really help later on whenever I want to come up with the story for it. Those little seemingly random details at this stage can really turn into concrete story elements later on. So it's okay to experiment with that kind of stuff for sure. How did you learn to draw? I would like to say I'm self-taught. I did go to school for art, but to be completely honest, I didn't learn a lot from the professors there. They were good. It wasn't about what they taught you. It was just the fact that for 4 years, you were drawing a lot, and that's it. Now, some people didn't take those 4 years and actually do anything with it. They did other things, so those 4 years were a waste. And to be honest, I didn't take them too seriously, but I spent a lot of time drawing, and when I did draw in class, like doing nude studies and things like that, I took it seriously and I did the best I could. So that taught me more how to draw than anything else. So in a way, it's being self-taught. But it was just the fact that college gave you the opportunity to just be drawing for extended periods of time, over the course of a couple of years. So I'm actually bringing some of that horizontal hatching in over here. It looks like it works. Did you already draw since you were a kid? Yeah, I did. Since I was pretty young. And I just never stopped. I know a lot of people, they draw when they're kids, then they just reach a certain age and they stop, and I just never stopped. And I always knew that's what I wanted to do, and I've been really focused on it my whole life. But I do have other interests, so I play guitar, and I spend a lot of time playing guitar. So it's about practicing and being focused when you practice, and making the most out of the time that you practice. For anything, I think, again, when, I play guitar, I don't play very much anymore because I'm drawing a lot, but when I play, I try to make the most of the time. Hey, Dr. Mask, how's it going? I am almost done with this. I'm trying to think of what I'm going to do after this drawing. I do need to finish that World War I soldier, for sure. I have a bunch of stuff planned. I guess we'll see what happens next. I definitely want to mix it up with some non-horse stuff just for practice. Hey Metatron's Cube, how's it going? What kind of guitar? Oh man, so Taylor. I have 4 Taylor guitars, and I love them more than I can say. Yeah, I have. I do have their electric. They had a solid body electric, which I don't think they sell anymore. I haven't checked, but I thought they discontinued it. Man, their electric guitar was nice. And I have a semi-hollow body one, which is beautiful as well. So yeah, all Taylors. Hey Mind Tunnel, how's it going? I play a lot of acoustic, so that's what I started with. And I walked into the local music store, and I had heard Taylors, but I'd never played one before, and I had no intention of actually buying a Taylor. I was going to buy a Les Paul, I was going to buy a Martin, you know. But man, when I sat down with that Taylor, I fell in love with that guitar. Those are fancy, nice looking wood though. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For a brief moment, I did own like a gypsy jazz guitar. I really got into gypsy jazz, and you know, they have those special guitars with like the really small sound hole and all that kind of stuff. And they didn't have any locally. I had to order one. I think it was actually from China, of all places, because I just couldn't find one. And it was tough. It was not a nice guitar, really low quality, which sometimes are fun, don't get me wrong. I actually still have my first guitar, my very first guitar, which is a Washburn acoustic that I paid $60 for. But I sent that gypsy jazz guitar back. Have I owned other guitars? You know what? A long time ago, I did own an Epiphone Les Paul. Man, that was a long time ago, yeah. I think that's it, though. Could you tell me a couple of good how-to draw books? Thanks, Mind Tunnel. You know what? I was actually planning on doing a series of videos reviewing my favorite anatomy and drawing books that I have. So I will do like full reviews of them. I haven't thought too much about it, but I have a couple like go-to books that I've had for, well, 20 years or 30 years that I still really love. So I will grab them and I will do videos. Off the top of my head, I mean, the Bernie Hogarth Dynamic Anatomy book is really good. It's very stylized, but it was really the first anatomy book where I started to really learn all of the muscles and all the bones. Again, though, it's very stylized, so you got to be a little careful with that. But I'll definitely do a series of videos on that. Dr. Mask, he bought a beat-up 6-string at a secondhand store. Yes, that's exactly what I did. Literally, it's funny whenever that song comes on. I'm like, hey, that was me. What kind of series do you watch? Anime and live action? I don't really watch any anime. I have. What's that new one? Arcane? I guess that's not anime, but it's animated. It's not live action. I thought that was really good. I did watch Castlevania I don't think I finished it though. I thought that was really good. But generally, I watch live action. I don't really watch a lot of anime or animated stuff in general. Didn't know how to play, but he knew for sure. Yep. It's funny because it's undeniable that like all of your influences, regardless where they come from, work their way into your creations. You might not even intend it, but it's for me at least, they pop up. Sometimes I notice it, sometimes I don't. But being a huge Kiss fan for so long, I'll listen to a song and some lyrics will evoke some imagery and then that'll kind of send me down a path or something. Kiss was great for that though. I mean, there's a lot of great, obviously, visual imagery with the band and the covers. Ken Kelly, incredible artist. I'm always tempted to buy one of those travel guitars, not to play for real, but sample and sequence. Travel guitars are cool. One of my Taylors is a travel guitar. It's a Big Baby, which it's a 3/4 scale, I believe. It's a nice guitar, and it's not real expensive. The best thing about the travel guitars is they're usually not solid wood, or at least the sides and back aren't solid wood, so you don't have to worry about humidifying your guitars, because if you don't humidify an acoustic guitar, it can just wreck it. So I wanted one guitar that I didn't have to worry about humidifying. Kiss were rock superheroes. Exactly. I don't know if you ever saw the Scooby-Doo meets Kiss. Is that it? Or Phantom? It's the one where Scooby-Doo meets Kiss. It came out, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. And they really play that up, and I love it so much. Scooby-Doo. I'm a huge Scooby-Doo fan. And the fact that Kiss was on Scooby-Doo just made my day. You added crazy detail to the bricks too. I did. I did get a little noodly. I wasn't intending to, but I figured why not. This is I need to close the chapter on this drawing today, so I'm gonna take all the time that I can and put as much as I can into it. Like this horizontal hatching I did for the bricks here, I haven't done down here. So this will probably be one of the last parts I do. Yeah, the Scooby-Doo Kiss was really good. It was. I watch it yearly. Looked great. Thanks, Metatron's Cube. I appreciate that. Yeah, this turned out pretty good. Again, this was sort of like concept art for me. So, and I was really loose with the brushwork. So I wasn't entirely sure how the finished product would look. If if it would look as loose as I had started it. But since I started loose with a brush and then I kind of went back in with pen, it kind of tightened up all of those kind of rough edges. So the end result actually looks pretty tight. Now, if you took a perspective look at this and looked at all the bricks and lined up all that stuff, yeah, you're gonna find some issues with it, but it's comic books after all. Are you a fan of the Mystery Inc. animated series? The Mystery Inc. is without a doubt the best Scooby-Doo. Oh man, yeah, huge fan of it, and I'm so angry that got canceled right before, because I think they woke up and it was like Miskatonic University or something like that, so it seemed like it was going to be a Lovecraft thing, and then it got canceled, and I'm like, I refuse to accept this. This could have been the greatest Scooby-Doo episode of all time. But it was great. I thought the humor was good. I thought they really treated it like a mystery, which I thought was fantastic. The Christmas Scooby-Doo ones are great too. Okay, I think we're just about done here. So I'm going to push this back a little bit because it is white. I enjoyed that watch with my son who was 9 or 10. Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise because they have a lot of different iterations of Scooby-Doo, and some are better than others, but man, that was really good. Yeah, it's funny because I tend to avoid any TV shows or movies or books or other comics that I think will influence me. So as soon as I started writing Horace H. Hoover, I really kind of shut that down. Even things I'm like, oh man, that looks cool, but I don't want to be unduly influenced one way or the other. But as far as I see it, anything prior to that is fair game, and I kind of embrace my influences of Scooby-Doo, of Kiss, of all that stuff. I've been told several times that I should watch Doctor Who because my stuff reminds them of Doctor Who. I guess some of the new stuff. So I unfortunately I can't watch Doctor Who because of that. But it would be interesting to see the parallels, or what some people, see the parallels being. Yeah, Mr. Inc. Oh, man. Of course it was canceled, though. It had to be canceled. So, I've avoided whiteout this entire time, which makes me happy. I mentioned before, I'm going to have to put some whiteout on his hair when this is all done. Doctor Who is awesome, except for the last 3 seasons. Yeah, I heard like all the craziness that went on with who they got as Doctor Who and all that kind of stuff. So that definitely turned me off. But I guess there were some like prime Doctor Who seasons. Now I do remember, I mean vaguely, I was really young, but I remember like on PBS there was Doctor Who, but I was so young, I just remember creepy music and weird aliens. I don't remember like who the Doctor was, I don't remember anything because I was too young at the time. But I do remember that music late at night creeping me out. Maybe after I finish Horace H. Hoover's, like the first couple of arcs or something like that, maybe I'll watch some Doctor Who. Blue Teddy, Doctor Who lost me with Capaldi, which stinks because he was a great actor for the role. The show itself just lost me. That is the worst when that happens. It's so disappointing. I mean, that's definitely happened for me with other shows. You see a character do something and you're like, no, that character would not do that. That's just not that character. And you can let it go to a certain degree, and then at a certain point you're like, okay, well this isn't Doctor Who, this isn't Buffy or whoever the character is. I'm a stickler about that kind of stuff. I will say this though, whenever they said that their stuff reminded them of Doctor Who, my stuff reminded them of Doctor Who. I mean, the one thing I always say is I'm a big fan of like British humor, so I could see it at least from that respect. Just the British sort of sensibility. I've always liked that dry sense of humor. Hey Rex Doom, how's it going? The David Tennant and Matt Smith runs were great, especially the first season of the new one was really good. Yeah, I'll have to, whenever the time comes and I can freely watch those without feeling like I'll be influenced one way or the other, I'll have to get some recommendations on where to start and where to end. Alright, let's look at the whole thing so far. His head is popping forward pretty nicely, which is exactly what I wanted. So is his head. And they look like they're popping from the background. So far, so good. I might do a little more detail in these bricks here. Thanks, Rex Doom. Yeah, this is, it's been working out. I've been digging this. So I just want a little bit of gray because this is just really white. I don't want it to pop forward too much and compete for your attention. I am a big Douglas Adams fan though, so that's the other place where I really feel like the British sensibility kind of stuck. Yeah, I can for sure see where the comparison comes from. Certainly they're in that, oh, you like one, you would probably enjoy the other space with each other. Cool. Yeah, it's always interesting. You never know when you're making something sort of where people are going to put it. Is it horror? Is it comedy? Is it adventure? You know, you always have every intention of kind of placing it in between certain movies on your shelf, so to speak. But yeah, other people might have a completely different feel for it. So it's always interesting to hear that. Like my art, you know, I never saw a comparison to my art to any other artist. Not because I'm super unique, just because, you know, you go through many phases when you're learning to draw. By the time you reach a certain point where you're consistent and you're telling stories, you could have kind of taken a bunch of different influences from a bunch of different artists and ended up someplace that you didn't expect. So when people compare my art to other artists, that's always interesting to me, because I don't necessarily see it. Fun thing about bricks is you don't have to be too careful. Chips and cracks and things like that are definitely expected. So I might actually, I'm off the page. Need a little bit of detail in his hose. I might pop some of those highlights with some white out as well. That's the sound of legit art right there. Yeah, that scratch is definitely, it's satisfying. It really is. Alrighty. I think I avoided cross-hatching almost entirely. Not that that was overly conscious, but sometimes hatching is just really clean looking. Hatching can be, cross-hatching can be a little, I don't want to say ugly, but it's just a different feel. And if you use it one place, you kind of have to use it everywhere. If you just use it in one spot, I guess it depends on the picture, but you should pepper it throughout, really. I think we're good. Unless somebody in chat can see something I messed up. Let's see from the top here. Giant priest monk guy. Getting very angry at Horace. I'm throwing him up against a column. He's got some weird harness neck thing. Yeah, it'll be fun to actually come up with a story for this character when the time comes. Thanks, Dr. Mask. Yeah, I think we're good. So let me just try to get this entirely in the frame, which is more difficult than... Yeah. I think we are good. I will probably combine all the videos into one, like, sped up video and post it. That might be fun. Start to finish. Yeah. Blue Teddy, my brain just does the heart eyes cartoon thing when I look at your work. So if there are any flaws, I wouldn't see them. Thank you. I appreciate that. People seem to love attacking HHH. They do. They do. Love how you are not even sure what everything is. Yeah. I mean, I have very specific things in mind. And I love leaving things to play with later on. So, you know, if we're talking issue 4 or 5, I know everything, I already have everything outlined and all the characters. But stuff like this for the ongoing, I really like doing this and kind of having a loose idea of it and then maybe tying things in later on. So it's actually fun as a writer to leave that kind of unpolished for a bit, at least. That way it can form in your brain and you can make connections that you didn't force. They just kind of came naturally while you're in your car doing your commute or something. Alrighty, sounds good. Well, thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I'll be doing next for the streams, but I will post some stuff on Twitter. Maybe I'll have a couple different things, and if you guys want to decide what I work on, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, all right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a good night.